Hey, I'm here in Brisbane and I'm here with my good friend Ronsley, and we are here as Aligned and Amplify. So a couple of key things. I want to talk to Ronsley because he is a marketing brand genius. And we've been chatting on the car ride, and we're talking about marketing foundations because I think that's what we all do in terms of marketing in any business. The trouble is that most people think they know what marketing is. And there's also key principles of what marketing steps you need to take. But the problem is actually they all start with one particular step. Let's talk about I love the way you frame it from an Amplify perspective. And you have this key 7 steps. So maybe just explain what this maybe the first A, what does it stand for and why is it so important?
Well, part of what we do is we add voices to brands, right? So if you think about what brands have or businesses have developed to, it's common to have businesses that have a look and a feel because they have logos, colors, and fonts.
Yep.
So that's branding 101, basic. We add voice to that. So think about every brand has a look and feel. We have sound that we add to that. So that's what we do. And what I found interesting is in that whole process, we always start with the first step, which is super important. That step was so important, irrespective of what agency you went to or what kind of marketer you went to, because marketing foundations is people go to business school to learn exactly what those foundations are.
Yeah.
And if those foundations are not built one step at a time, then everything that we're trying to figure out past that point becomes super difficult because we don't know the basics and the foundations are not laid. So the first step, which is probably the most important step of the Amplify framework, is analyzing your audience. And that might sound boring,
but the thing is though, everybody who's ever taken a course with me in terms of marketing, or anybody who's taken a course from you, or any course that we've ever taken, always talk about market. And the challenge is when most people is that they go, I've been asked this question so many times, I gotta fill it out again. But the thing is, what you gotta understand is that when whenever we do a podcast, or every time I'm doing a product or a new item or anything, that's the first thing I have to think about.
Yeah, because there are 3 elements to analyzing your audience. And usually when someone thinks about analyzing your audience, you think about only who my clients are.
Yes.
But there's so many different types of clients, because the client that actually visits your website for the first time requires something entirely different to someone who has consumed some of your stuff.
Yes.
Versus someone who's already just about to buy. That in itself is a variety of audience. But the first step before you figure out who your audience is to figure out who you are. That's step 1.
Yeah.
Like every business owner is unique in the way they present themselves to the world, their business, everything else. So figuring out why you're unique and who you are and how you help certain types of people is kind of important. Also, it's important as to figure out, do you want to hang out with these people?
Yep.
Because everything sort of is a knock-on effect from that point, right?
So here's the thing, and the reason why I call it Align and Amplify is because there's no point amplifying something when your product, your business, your practice isn't aligned with who you are as a person. It's one of the reasons why when I do any of my coaching with any of my clients, isn't about helping you build a business like me. It's about helping you build a business like how you want it. You need to be aligned. Then you amplify it, because when you amplify that's why I love talking to you about this, because when you amplify, you get this frequency that resonates to the right people who hear it, and people who are, let's just say at the 72 hertz, the people with 62 hertz can't hear you, and that's a good thing.
But also with amplifying anything, all the mistakes, and you amplify all the good things as well. So as much as you can kind of get aligned. So once you figure out who you are and who you want to hang out with, the third type of analysis from an audience perspective is, who are your partners?
Interesting.
Because potentially every one of us goes after clients one at a time.
Yes.
Rather than that, what if we found out who our partners were, who had the same target market but had no competitive overlap? So that's a one-liner that you can take to the bank.
Okay.
And you can go, well, who else shares my market?
All right, so let's put it in practical terms for chiropractors in this particular video. So first of all, you got to figure out who you are as a person. That is how I look at that is like, you know, what kind of technique you do, what kind of philosophy do you believe in, how do you see health, how do you see wellness as a whole. Then you got to look for the types of people in your audience. So marketplaces now remember, you could be multiple markets. It doesn't have to be stuck with one. But like obviously, like there's branches that how you speak to a CrossFitter is going to be very different than how you speak to a pregnant woman, for example, right? So there are multiple marketplaces, and this is where what we call in our industry, it's called joint venturing, right? You're finding joint venture partners to kind of be that they're aligned with you, your business, and also each other. So this is that triune. So I love that. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's an analyzing your audience, and once you have those three factors, everything else is easy to. Then you can mold your brand. You can figure out how your look and feel and voice looks like. Then you can productize your ecosystem. You can kind of go, well, my lead has to look like this. My lead magnet looks like this. My nurture sequence looks like this. My sales mechanism looks like this. Then you can launch audio, because then you launch audio and you can attract that audience. Repurpose that audio, put it on the different social media platforms, take them and nurture them to a sales conversation. And then Y is yield on investment, which is ROI. So that Amplify process actually takes those three people at the start, and every time you create an episode on a podcast, you're amplifying those three things, because technically you can have a half an hour conversation, because you're always there, with a partner who has your market but no competitive overlap. So even if nothing ever happens, you have this partner, which is a relationship, but also you create content for your audience. So in one step, you tick all three boxes, and you get authority, content, and opportunities like week in, week out. And if you think about it from a year from now, and you've done 50 of those conversations, you have 50 partners that you can potentially partner with.
That's right. And that's where leverage comes from. And then instead of, so like what the main lesson you can get out of this from a chiropractic point of view is too as well, is that the biggest mistake I find chiropractors make and health professionals make is that they say something like this, is that, you know, who are your market? They say everybody, because everybody's got a freaking spine. That isn't a market, right? Because you can't create a succinct message that everybody's gonna go, yeah, that's for me. You want to be able to create a mass marketing message where the person listening going, oh my God, I feel like he or she's speaking to me. That is how you amplify, because when you amplify that message so succinctly to that frequency, that person feels like you're speaking directly to you. That's the huge part. Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't already done so, that subscribe button, you should press it. And because I want to share videos with you just like this one to help you grow your practice.